see the backdrop here. I don't know, it's a big sandstone cliff, or not stone but just sand, a really high slope, and the environment's varied once again. Like, there hasn't really been rocky type mountains so much. There are some in the distance, but they're more of the rolling kind of mountain, and it's opened up like wider. You can probably also tell the river's wider too. And I would have thought with the now a second river, the Big Salmon River is now flowing into it, would have thought that the current would be stronger, but it's not. So just interesting. And it could be because of the time of the year too. It's August, so things slow down, and obviously flows start slowing down then, so that could be it. But yeah, this is a great time to come. Like, that breeze is chilly for sure, but there's no bugs. I think I've got like maybe half a dozen mosquito bites the whole time. That's it. I haven't seen hardly any bugs out. Yeah, it's going on great. The sun is amazing, and clear blue skies. There was I should say there was another party just past the Big Salmon. They did the Big Salmon, I guess. And I passed by their camp. There was a boat that just left there before I did, and I would have thought that they would have met up together, but maybe they're different. Actually, two different groups. Maybe that one boat's by itself. But I haven't caught up to the one boat or the other two that are behind me. And I'm not going fast at all. I'm just taking my time here. Now maybe we'll be out in the sun and I can do some paddling and still talk. And rounding a bend here, so that's why. Yeah, I got, because I've changed the trip, as you know, I've decided to finish at Carmacks. I got about a little over 100 kilometers to go, and I could do that in 2 days if I hustle, but probably take 3 days, just taking my time and enjoy it, because that's why I came here. So yeah, there's that wind again. We'll see if that dead cat's working on the microphone. This is a good test. But thanks to my lovely wife for figuring that all out. I expected her to take a couple days to figure it out, but she's got it all dialed in. I've left my truck with Wendy and Brent in Whitehorse, and they're awesome. They're good enough to adapt to my problems. So they're actually gonna meet me in Carmacks somehow with the truck, or with that truck, or whatever. Anyway, I'll have a way out. I don't have to worry about anything. It's all taken care of. Okay, taking my lunch break here. I'm at Sears Gold Dredge. So it's a camp and a little historic spot. Well, that's kind of it right there. I'll show you the whole thing though. And head up here. It says, there's a plaque of course by the heritage stuff. It says they came down here from Whitehorse in 1940 and to dredge for this. Well, they lasted for the summer, they didn't come back. But it's all getting sunken in. 1940, that's like 80 years ago, so there's a Caterpillar motor buried in the sediment. And then they got another motor over here. I don't know what kind of motor that is. Or a pump or something. Looks more like a motor. Got a belt drive on it. Here's the machinery itself. It's all taken in by the bank. It's hard to know what's actually under the ground too. There's the dredge wheels. And those things are just turn on the chain and dig up the gravel. Gives you another vantage point. And then the gravel they would put through some sluice screens. And they'd sift out the gravel, and the heavier stuff is gold, and keep that. So that's how it all worked. In case you didn't know. Said they got 72 ounces that summer. So I don't know if that's a lot. Maybe probably wasn't a ton to make them. They didn't come back anyway, so here's the camp. Of course there's cans everywhere. I don't know why people do that. I haven't noticed any toilet paper in the bushes, but I haven't went looking. There's a sluice screen anyway. Obviously they would have done it without nylon twine. I guess maybe people are using it for a bench now, but yeah, that's the parts. Okay, I'm at Erickson's Woodyard, and it is early in the day, but as you can see, the weather kind of changed a little bit. Actually had a bit of rain there. Had to pull out the rain jacket, so it changed fast. Went from clear blue sunny skies to kind of more rain, looking like it's gonna come. But yeah, I was just gonna check it out, look, see what there was for buildings and stuff. But this place is awesome. I can't pass it up. I gotta make camp here. It's great. It's probably the best camp I've been at yet. So let me show you around. This place is a gem. The old buildings, but look at someone's got it all set up nice. Like, you can string your tarp, there's tables, someone even left the chair. That's not my chair, for sure. And yeah, this is amazing. Here's the old cabin falling in. So pretty cool. Old stove. Looks like people have been shooting stuff. Old propane tank. But and this is kind of interesting too. Someone hang this up. So says, in loving memory of Norman Erickson, 1935 to 2014. So he hasn't been passed long. I wonder, I don't know if he would have worked it as a woodcutter, or maybe he inherited that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's kind of cool. someone's been liking this camp, taking good care of it. Some other buildings, maybe a tool shed or storehouse. Another one hasn't been used. It's been a lot longer than 2014 that hasn't been used, so but maybe it's a family thing, family affair. But yeah, I can't pass this up. This is too good. Hopefully there's 2 groups behind me that I know of. Hopefully they don't want to stay here too. I want to be by myself, do my own thing. The one group, well, it's just 2 guys in a canoe. They're just maybe a couple clicks back. I passed them. I'm sure they'll keep going on. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. Lots of firewood too. Just back in behind those birch trees. Another old stove. Yeah. So yeah, this will be camp tonight. I have lots of time, so I'll get some reading in like I thought. But yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, this is by far the best camp I've had on the trip, so super stoked about that. I got some firewood ready, tents up, tarps up. It's interesting though, I tried to put a square peg in a triangular hole and it didn't work out so good, but it's going to protect me enough. The rain has stopped, so that's good. Still cloudy and windy, but it's kind of nice now. Yeah, when you're on that cold river, it's got to be, it feels 20 degrees colder than on the land. It's really awesome, but well, not that that's awesome, but it's awesome getting off after a day. Well, finally bannock success. I used to be able to cook this all the time on my old stove, but the new one doesn't simmer good, so I always burn it. I tried it on the fire. It was burning there too, but jam and bannock, so yummy. Just gonna do up the dishes and eat that. I had burger KD, which was awesome. There's my fire. Coming alive. And yeah, having a good night. The wind dropped. Hopefully it'll stay dropped. But yeah, it was really blowing for a while. Maybe I got my laundry done. Maybe it's dry now. I will check. But yeah, it's good. Hope you're having a good night too. How about that for a view and a way of reading, eh? Oh yeah, nothing better. Yeah, it was a great campsite there. Had a great night. Still in bed by 9 o'clock, before 9 o'clock. Just gets so chilly even with the fire. And yeah, it's still really light out, but pretty knackered by that time. Yeah, it was pretty interesting too throughout the evening. There was a big group of 4 canoes that floated on by at probably 5:30, after 5:30. They weren't paddling or anything like that, so I'm not sure where they were headed, but maybe a kilometer down from my site there's an island site, and there was 3 canoes laid up there that I just passed. They're stirring, so they will be on the water soon. But as for the other parties, there's at least 4 or 5 more canoes that passed me. They're down here somewhere. But yeah. Yeah, now we're getting into the mountainous terrain again. The mountains are not like the ones in Alberta for sure, that are really rocky and new. These look like older ancient mountains. They got a lot of rock and tree on them, probably half and half, or all the way up them, whereas in Alberta, usually the rock, there's nothing growing on the tops. But there's always seems to be some growth on the tops here, but very rugged. It's kind of what I'm talking about with the mountains. This is fairly typical. Not a ton of growth on them, but it is consistent, I guess would be the word. And as you can see, we still got thick forest all around. Yeah, so it's gotten a lot better actually. This morning it was raining a little bit. Looks like it's cleared off, but usually when it clears off, that's the wind, when the wind comes. Caught up with 2 canoes. I'll try and give them some distance, but they're barely paddling, and I seem to be gaining on them even when I'm not paddling. No breeze yet. I'm loving it. The sun is out, as you can see. The skies are blue. Just if I can get less people, that'd be nice. But yeah, I almost need my sunglasses. This is great. But yeah, I don't know if we can still see them up ahead. Can't tell. Anyway, going great. I hope they start paddling soon. Okay, they're getting a little further away now. Maybe can't see them in the camera. It's about a kilometer off, maybe. What do you think? Sunglasses? I don't want to jinx it though. This is exactly how yesterday started. And then the breeze came and the clouds came and a little bit of rain. I'll just take it for what it is. I'll enjoy the sun in my face. Coming up on the Little Salmon confluence. Anyway, it's the first real settlement since Deep Creek. It's the first road access too. So I got about 55 kilometers to Carmacks from here. Quite a bit smaller, I guess, than the big salmon. That's probably why they call it that. Well, I just finished lunch, just about maybe a kilometer down from Little Salmon Village. And yeah, in the background there behind me, Should be able to see the road. That's called the Campbell Highway, and I gotta admit I didn't pay enough attention to figure out where it goes or where it comes from. But it's not the Alaska Highway to Whitehorse, but it does, Campbell Highway does go to Carmacks. So yeah, there's gonna be a road along the rest of the way. But yeah, since I've been in the area of the road, since the village and lunch and all that, I've heard 2 vehicles, like maybe in 45 minutes or so. So not very busy at all. The river might be getting busier though. I just passed a family in a raft, which is pretty cool actually. Looked like a couple with 3, maybe 4 young kids in there, and they're all kitted out, ready for a 2 or 3 dayer, I think. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that on this river. It's moving pretty good. And then another party of 2 canoes is getting in at Little Salmon too. Like I said, I passed that group I've been tailing all morning. Doesn't look like they're getting out at Little Salmon, so I'm still ahead of them, but probably not for long. Yeah, about 55k to go. Easy striking distance to Carmacks now. But I got a couple more hours. And then I'll start looking for another camp spot. Last one on the river. So I'm at Mandana Creek, and the map says this burnt in 95, but it must have reburnt even just a couple of years ago, because there's not much growing there. In over 20 years it would be well established by now. But that's okay, we'll come back. So this, also called Eagle Bluff or Eagle Nest. It's only maybe a kilometer or 2 away from the other one. I think they could come up with a different name. Anyway, this one's pretty neat. I think it's got a kind of an erosion spot right almost through the middle of it, looks like. Pretty cool, if you can see that. Zoom in. Looks like a fun thing to climb. Yes, we are looking at the bushes. That is a tailwind. Can't believe it. Of course, the river probably has to turn now, but first time I had a tailwind in 10 days, 9 days, I don't know how many days I am anymore. Oh, rock. Gravel bar, actually. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so this will do for the night. I've got a little supply of firewood. Yeah, not well used because it's only potentially a campsite. But yeah, pretty tired now. Sorry about the wind. Yeah, the only drawback is it's a bit of a climb up, which maybe has kept most of the animals away. Animals, I mean people. The wind has picked up again, as you can probably hear. But what someone's done is they've built a little ladder to get up here, which is handy. Oh, okay, I got the camp all set up. Like I said, this is probably going to be the last wilderness camp of the trip. I'll be at a campground tomorrow night. And the wind is coming from the south, which is made the weather a lot nicer too. So as you can see, I'm down to one layer. Yeah, it feels great. I actually had a little bit of a bird bath, washed my face and my head off. Felt so good, even though the water is like freezing cold. But yeah, it's a warm day. It's got to be mid-20s. It's never been near that temperature. It's been a good trip. Lots of highs and lows for sure, and lots of different environments I went through. Lots of miles, lots of landscapes. What was surprising? Surprising the amount of people I saw, especially the last 2 days. Lots of people. There's actually 2 groups past me. Well, I passed them before, I guess, so they passed just by here. The large family, and then the 2 canoes that I caught when they left their camp. They both went on. It's now about 5:30, so I guess potentially more people could come by. But yeah, I am away from the road again, but not so far. The road kind of follows the way up to Carmacks. So I don't know, just knowing that it feels a little different, I guess, but it's still fine. This is great. No forest fire here at all. It's a pretty decent camp for just what they say is a potential camp. It's not as messy as a lot of them are. But yeah, it's surprising how many people are on the river still. It's good to see, actually. So would I do it again? I definitely do the Yukon River part again. I'd probably get the boat to bring me across Laberge and start at Lower Laberge. The lower section, the 30-mile section, is probably the best for sure, up until Big Salmon River. That's probably the best section. After that, it kind of not as much history, not as interesting, or at least not as many artifacts. But yeah, that was the prettiest for sure. But I definitely would not do that lake again. Yeah, I lost 4 days there and totally derailed my whole trip. So it's going to be 10 days, I think, total, which is plenty. That's the longest trip I've ever done, solo or otherwise. So I'm very happy about that. So it's time to quit. So I'll have no qualms about heading out when I get to Carmacks. What else? To come back to the Yukon, I might explore that Big Salmon River, actually. Yeah, see what that one's all about. The Teslin, I think, is more whitewater, but even that one might be worth exploring. Sounds like groups go through there just as well. And of course, maybe one day I'll come back from Carmacks and go up to Dawson. It'll be right wilderness again after Carmacks. The road doesn't follow the river at all after that. Motorboats, I haven't seen any since the first day I hit the Yukon River. So it's been all paddlers, which is great. And again, I thought there'd be more motorboaters up and down. Obviously, they make use of the sites. They do use the campsites. You could just buy, nothing against motorboaters, but they're usually the only ones that bring in cans of beer. There's beer cans in pretty much every fireplace I've been to. And they also got the moorings for motorboats too on a lot of the campsites. But yeah, just my few thoughts, I guess. Didn't have any problem with any wildlife. Actually, only ever seen one black bear. They're around, I'm sure. I just didn't see them. And the one I did see was high up in the hill. He didn't even see me actually. So, yeah. What else? The weather, yeah. It's the Yukon, I guess, so you can't expect it to be like this. Like I'm warm for sure now. First time since I got here. But definitely need better layers for my hands and my feet. Actually, I'm starting to get bit. The flies are alive again. But yeah, those are just some parting thoughts, I guess. I'll do some more filming on the go, hopefully tomorrow. I only got about 30 kilometers left, I think. 30 or 40. So I'll knock that off in a few hours. I have no idea what Carmacks will be like. But yeah, I'll do some exploring here as well while I'm waiting. But yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, it's time. I got what I needed. Here comes the wind. Well, pretty much packed up and ready to roll here. I'm just gonna get dressed for the river. Gonna try something different today. What I've been using is these dry pants. As you can see, the enclosed foot and neoprene gasket, whatever, about the waist. So they're like a half dry suit. And they work really good for when to keep you dry. And they're virtually windproof as well. So they kept my legs super warm. And when I had to wade and step into the water and stuff like that, and I did have to do that quite a bit, it kept me dry. So they worked really well for that, especially when the weather was really nasty and rainy and windy and all that stuff. Although the drawback is the feet, because there's no insulation in this thing. So I tried different combinations, 1 pair of socks, 2 pairs of socks, Gore-Tex socks, all kinds of stuff. And my feet would always get cold just by being in contact with the water all the time, or even the cold boat. The hull of the boat gets cold just by being on the water. So it conducts a lot of heat out of my feet. So although my legs are warm and overall my whole body was warm, but my feet were always cold. And it also doesn't breathe. So when you do get sweaty, then you're wet on the inside and then even colder. So anyways, it was bearable. But like anything, I've never found the answer to good warm, dry feet all the time, especially when you're canoe tripping. But anyways, this is what I have been doing, and it's fine. It's working okay. But I'm gonna put these aside today. Like I said, it's my last day on the river, so I'm gonna experiment a little bit. It's looking like a nice day again. It's not as clear as yesterday yet, but there doesn't seem to be a breeze that I can tell. So what I'm gonna do is, I have these as well. These are sealskin socks. These are waterproof socks, believe it or not. And get these from Britain, actually. And I have used them before on, can't remember what trip, and they actually are waterproof, believe. So obviously just up to the tops. So I'm going to try these. Now the problem is with both the dry pants and these socks is you need some sort of shoe over top, otherwise you're going to put holes in them. So I have a size 13 water shoe. That's as big as I can get it. And what happens is, with all this extra, this is thicker than your average sock, it just makes your feet really cold. So if you're doing a lot of hiking and walking, it's probably not the answer. But for the Yukon River, what I think is best is, I'm going to say, Crocs, because you're not really having to hike. You do have to wait a little bit, maybe getting in and out of the boat, stuff like that. So your feet get wet, maybe up to the calf. So I'm going to say maybe try these in Crocs, especially in the nice weather. These work really well in the good weather. Again, they don't breathe either, so I need to have an under sock underneath that. Let's try them out here. So these are just light wool socks I got on. And just gonna see how they fit. I haven't actually tried them in these water shoes before, so. Of course I got my long underwear on. I think you wear long underwear in the Yukon all year round. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do a whole lot of walking with that. My toes are already crunched over. But for the purposes of today, and because it looks like a nice day, I could do that. Do my minimal walking around, and then when I get in the boat, I'm gonna slip these shoes off. There's a little duck family this morning. And I just passed the raft family. We'll call them the raft family. They're just loading up and starting their float. So 2 families. When these ducks fly together, it sounds like kind of like a plane. The whoosh they make when they glide in. Better sound than a real plane. So yeah, the foot experiment is working. Not any colder anyways, but there's not really a breeze. There's a slight north breeze, so maybe that south warm weather's over. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But it's a late start. I didn't get going till 11. I'll be in Carmacks probably in 3 hours or so. So I'm just taking my time. Okay, so there's some white geese birds on the other side of this sandbar. I gotta try and sneak up on them and get some photos. Shh. So this is about as close as I've ever been able to get. You know, they got an all black beak. Yeah, I don't know if they're geese or swans, but they're really big. A few more down here. And now they're getting nervous. When they take off, it is a noise. I don't know if I want them to take off, but... Maybe they got used to me a bit. Just approaching Carmacks. So this might be it. Up ahead, that's called Tantalus Butte. It was the Tantalus coal mine. Obviously they use that for the steamships. Coal is much more efficient for producing steam than wood. So yeah, probably not used now. Maybe I'll go explore there later, show you around. I'm not sure. Not sure if you can access it or not. But yeah, just around to the left should be Carmacks, and you can see the Campbell Highway here. Joins up with the Klondike Highway, and they both go north to Dawson and Alaska. So have to do some exploring there some other time. Just the Yukon is huge, very big, too big for me till I got more time anyway. So yeah, the campground's supposed to be up ahead here. That might even be it. Signing off for now.